What if we told you that church legend CeCe Winans just spoke out against Tyler Perry in public, instead of just with her family? CeCe didn't hold back in a moment that shocked both friends and followers. I quote, she said, "I hate him." You did hear that right. Finally, the gospel queen spoke, and what she said about Tyler Perry has made everyone talk. What made her say this now, though, and what does it mean for their secret history? You need to hear it all. CeCe Winans is used to having class, grace, and quiet power. She has been one of the most recognized voices in gospel music for many years, a woman whose name has become a synonym for beauty and honesty because she rarely gets involved in public drama and would rather worship than fight. Just think of how shocked everyone was when CeCe Winans recently told a shocking secret that no one saw coming. She didn't just stay away from Tyler Perry. She told him straight out, "What he does bothers me. I dislike it. Now I have to speak up." These were her exact words, spoken without any doubt, and they made the web catch fire. This is the queen of gospel. She's calling people out this time. How did we get here? Tyler Perry is a media mogul, filmmaker, and man of religion who says he is. Large part of the black church group for a long time. He has given away a lot of money, worked with gospel acts in his movies, and even performed on stage with preachers like T.D. Stephen Jakes and Bishop Paul Morton. Lots of people saw him as an odd but strong link between Hollywood and the church. However, things were never really as good as they seemed. People started to talk quietly about his productions when they heard rumors of spiritual compromise, inappropriate stage portrayals, and material that wasn't clear, especially among people who swear by the church, like CeCe Winans. That talk has now become public. This video shows the full story behind CeCe's public statement about Tyler Perry. It includes the two men's hidden history, why she kept quiet for so long, how the gospel and entertainment communities reacted, and how this confrontation could forever change the relationship between faith and fame. The series of events that led to this point will amaze you. We also have inside information, background, and real quotes that show how deep this story goes. That's not all, though. What's CeCe? The things Winans said were just the start. The story has more to it than meets the eye. Something that happened at a big church event in the past may explain everything. Now things start to get interesting. To understand what Winans recently said about Tyler Perry, we need to go back almost 10 years to a time that might have seemed normal at first glance. But that made quiet waves in the gospel world. The Stellar Awards are one of the biggest nights in gospel music, and they honor both legends and new stars. People in the room were deeply moved by both the music and the preaching. To everyone's surprise, Tyler Perry was brought on stage as a special guest host. This was great for Perry fans. He was already well known in the entertainment business thanks to the hugely popular media movies. A lot of people still saw him as a church kid, though. In interviews, he praised God, talked about his faith, and used gospel singers a lot in his work. But this is where the mood changed. Tyler's speech quickly became dramatic and personal, and it didn't stay on topic with gospel or praising the award winners. He used his usual sense of humor, told stories that some people thought were inappropriate for a religious setting, and even said a few things that made a lot of people in the room look uncomfortable. CeCe Winans was one of the people who looked shocked. Cameras didn't catch much, but gospel experts who were there say it was clear that CeCe, who was sitting in the front row, was uncomfortable. She didn't clap, according to one report. She didn't laugh. She put her hands together and looked down. She looked like she was praying to keep calm. Later that night, several gospel artists were asked about Tyler's appearance in interviews behind the scenes. Most of them answered nicely. People in the industry are getting active in gospel spaces, and it's great to see them smile for the cameras and say things like that. However, CeCe Winans refused all talks. She left the event early, and onlookers say she wouldn't go to the after party where Tyler was the guest of honor. At that time, no one said anything in public, but it was clear that something wasn't right. That was the spark. From then on, CeCe didn't seem to be as close to Tyler's brand or his music. She never played a part in one of his movies or on stage with him again. Another religious singer, CeCe, took part in his plays, but she stayed close to herself. Most people thought it was just a matter of style at the time. They didn't know, though, that CeCe was having what she called a conflict of spiritual integrity behind closed doors. And after many years, she would finally speak out. They don't want you to know this shocking fact, though. In 2019, CeCe reportedly said something strong that no one expected her to say in a private gospel roundtable talk that wasn't filmed. One witness said, "I don't support anything that blurs the line between ministry and mockery. I can't. I think that's when CeCe started getting ready to speak out more. And now, in 2025, she's not going to hide anything." Years of silence, quiet distance, and pain behind the scenes led CeCe Winans to finally do the impossible. She told the truth in a public way without any sugarcoating. It all happened during a fun interview segment on a Christian show. The host, a younger worship leader known for talking to big names in faith-based entertainment, was supposed to be having a good time. The interview was polite and calm until Tyler Perry's name came up out of the blue. The host asked, "CeCe, you've worked with a lot of people in gospel and entertainment. Would you like to work with anyone else? Someone like Tyler Perry, maybe?" In just a few hours, what happened next would make social media go crazy. CeCe Winans stopped, took a deep breath, and then said something that stopped everyone on the internet from scrolling. "I wouldn't, though. I don't agree with what he stands for. I haven't said anything for a long time, but now I have to. It's not okay for me for him to mix religion with ridicule and confusion. I dislike it." Her voice made you feel like it was heavy. There wasn't any talk going on here. This wasn't a fight between people. CeCe Winans, a live gospel icon, was making a mark in the sand. The host, who looked shocked, tried to change the subject, but CeCe said, "We've made the mistake of giving fame and influence to people who don't always follow what we preach. People who say they believe in God don't necessarily share his beliefs. There's a difference between having fun and being blessed." Everyone saw the video right away. A lot of people responded on Twitter, now X, Instagram clips, TikTok, and YouTube shorts. Gospel artists shared the video again, leaving fans shocked and leaders giving their thoughts. There was a tweet on X that got over 1.5 million views in 24 hours. It said, "CeCe said what the church has been afraid to say for years." Some praised how honest she was. At last, someone with a voice is saying what needs to be said. May God bless CeCe. Some people thought she was being too mean. This seemed harsh to me because CeCe is a celebrity. A lot of people got help from Tyler's. Big news sites like Christian Post, The Shade Room, Gospel Complex, and Rolling Out all wrote about it and asked the same question. Did CeCe just say the truth that everyone in the church world has been trying to hide? The church world does something. A lot of important preachers kept quiet, but a few brave ones spoke out in support. A well-known bishop wrote, "You can't scold demons that you still laugh with." CeCe is right. Tyler Perry, meanwhile, kept quiet. There was no answer, no word, and not even a vague message. His quiet only made people think and talk more about it. Was he hurt by it? Did he not care about it? Or was there something going on behind the scenes? Fans couldn't say a word about this part, though. A few days after CeCe's interview went viral, her name was suddenly taken off the list of guests at a big gospel conference in Atlanta. Tyler Perry has given money to this event in the past. Random event? Fans don't believe it, though. They are now making CeCe quiet. It's not about togetherness, it's about power. In a world where power tends to protect its owners, CeCe's bravery stood out. She didn't hit Tyler or swear at him, but she wouldn't keep quiet either. That's the main reason her words shook the church world. Tyler Perry has been on the edge for a long time. Between having one foot in the pulpit and the other firmly set in Hollywood, it looks like a smooth balance on paper. A man who gives money to churches across the country and says that God is the reason for his success. But behind the scenes, a lot of people have been quietly wondering how real that picture really is. Now, after CeCe, because of Winans' shocking words, those long-held suspicions are once again on the table, but this time they will be looked at without any filters. 1. Truth or lies. What's wrong with Perry's images? Let's talk about Perry's most famous and controversial work, the Medea series. The Medea movies made Tyler a millionaire, and made a lot of people laugh, but critics, especially religious people, have long said that the character goes too far. A mother in a church dress who carries a gun and smokes weed. For some, it was funny. For some, it was a joke that was passed off as service. Up until now, CeCe Winans has never said anything bad about media. But after her interview went viral, gospel media started to play old clips and quote her from private conversations that had happened in the past. She is said to have said in one that we lose our witness when the church becomes a punchline. Laughing at broken things is not a holy thing to do. That really hurts because Tyler Perry's whole thing is making people laugh by making sad things funny. But many people think that by doing that, he's mixed the holy and the everyday in ways that make the church experience seem less important. 2. Ties to the church are under fire. Perry does more than just make movies. Some of the most important people in the Black church have worked with him over the years. He has given millions of dollars to ministries, used church funds to build homes, and even preached from pulpits even though he didn't have formal ministry training. Do you remember that 2013 video that went viral? A lot of people were shocked when Tyler put his hands on Bishop T.D. Jakes during a church meeting, and Jakes seemed to lose it spiritually. Some people saw it as a strong act of faith. Others, especially religious people, said it was a moving show. One expert on the Bible even wrote that putting on of hands is not a trick used in movies. We are moving toward heresy if we keep seeing holy rituals as performances. And it is said that CeCe Winans turned down an offer to sing at that service once. She found out Perry would be there, even though she didn't say anything in public at the time. After finally speaking out, a lot of fans are thinking back to that moment and wondering if Tyler Perry used the church to build her reputation, while also making it seem less spiritually serious. Lastly, what CeCe's words showed. Dozens of gospel singers, church leaders, and entertainment bloggers have come forward, some anonymously, to say how uneasy they are about what CeCe said. Someone who runs a choir said that their pastor stopped the movie showing of Diary of a Mad Black Woman in the middle of the movie because the mood was off. A gospel singer who tried out for a Perry stage play said they were told to tone it down during their performance. A pastor in Atlanta allegedly said that Perry movies couldn't be shown in the youth ministry because they could cause confusion between what is holy and what is popular. The fire wasn't started by CeCe, but she just made it public. Many people have been saying for years that Tyler Perry's impact may be good for business, but it's not so good for spiritual growth. Her words gave voice to what many had been saying, but here's the catch. One of Tyler Perry's former employees who worked closely with his production company in the early 2010s has now come forward to say that Perry was told by several publicists to keep working with gospel artists, not just to show support, but also to keep his image in good shape. They knew that the church loved him. These people told him to keep Bishop Jakes, Yolanda Adams, and those church singers close by. It keeps everything else in check. If that's true, it means that the gospel relationships were about more than just praise. Now that CeCe. Since Winans openly cut ties, a lot of people think that other gospel artists will soon deal with celebrities in a very different way. CeCe Winans' bold and surprising words about Tyler Perry have caused more than just a stir. A thick line has been drawn in the sand and artists, preachers and gospel leaders are being forced to choose a side. Say something or don't say anything. It's so quiet that it hurts. First, let's talk about the brave people who have stepped forward. People who support CeCe are standing with her. Donnie McClarkin was one of the first people in public to support CeCe. She shared an interview clip on Instagram with the words, "This kind of clarity is rare. Thank you for having guts." CeCe people loved and hated his post, but Donnie didn't back down. He has a history of being under a lot of scrutiny, so he knew what to do. In a Facebook livestream soon after, Pastor Kim Burrell added her voice. She said, "Some of us have been biting our tongues so long we forgot how to talk. But CeCe showed us how powerful it is to stand on the word." Not all money is good money. Some artists like Jonathan McReynolds and Todd Delaney have been less obvious. They liked CeCe's talk and shared quotes on their stories about picking holiness over fame. The area is still small, but it's getting bigger. The ones who didn't say anything. But let's talk about how quiet it is. Major gospel stars, preachers, and entertainers who have worked with or been backed by Tyler Perry haven't said anything. Who has been in his shows? Yolanda Adams. Kirk Franklin, who has worked with Perry and has been on many of the same stages. Fans are aware that Tasha Cobbs Leonard, Bishop Jakes, Marvin Sapp, and even CeCe's brother CeCe Winans have been quiet. It said in a tweet that church is very quiet right now. You guys sing about being brave, but when CeCe finally showed it, you guys vanished. The quiet says a lot. It brings up a tough but important question. Are these leaders afraid of missing out on chances, or do they not care about what's being said? Faith is tied to access, exposure, and endorsements in this field, so speaking out can be risky. But staying quiet sends a strong message too. What this means for the faith and its power in the future. CeCe Winans' brave move may have begun as a personal statement, but it has grown into a much bigger change in culture. People are rethinking who they work with, who they put their art on, and what really shows Christ-centered art versus content that just uses God as a business tool. Spiritual standards are being talked about again in churches. Young gospel artists are asking their teachers things that they won't answer. There are even fans who won't watch shows that cross the line between serious and funny. It's not just Tyler and CeCe. The church is going in this direction. It's about whether religious artists will keep letting themselves be used as props in pop culture, or whether they'll stand up for what's real, holy, and true. Because this moment proves something about CeCe Winans. If you stay quiet for too long, the enemy can hear you. Now, it's not about what CeCe. That's why no one else is speaking up. Are you with CeCe Winans? Do you think Tyler Perry's bond with the church is now more about his work than it was before? Do you believe CeCe went too far? Now is the time to start talking. Type your ideas in the box below right now. Please like this video if you admire how brave CeCe is. Sign up if you want to see more uncut breakdowns of today's most controversial church moments. Also, show this movie to someone who needs to know the real story behind the news. People will talk about it if the church doesn't.